Southeast Asian Games coverage of the men's volleyball division here on SNA. Sinjan Reyes joining Doc AJ Parea in this exciting matchup between Indonesia and the Philippines. It is the last game of the group rounds for men's volleyball. Indonesia getting 2 wins over Cambodia and Vietnam. Philippines at the same situation. It's time for these two squads to square it off against each other, Doc.
Yes, it's interesting because this is the year that men's volleyball is proving to show a renaissance. Okay. Like we have the best lineup assembled.
The national anthem of Indonesia. And now the national anthem of the Philippines. You may now be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the international referees for match number 9. First referee, Nguyen Gok Hoi from Vietnam. Second referee, Thanatpon Sukson from Thailand. It is now time to meet the starters. First, for Indonesia. Outside hitter number 3, Sigit Ardian. Middle blocker number 9, Yuda Mardiansha. Opposite hitter number 12, Riva Nurmulki. Outside hitter number 17, Donnie Haryono. Middle blocker number 18, Iputu Randu. Setter, their team captain number 20, Nizar Julfikar. And their libero, number 2, Bastian Tamtomo. Head coach for Indonesia is Lee Xiu-jia. Let us now meet the starters for the Philippines. Outside hitter number 1, Brian Bagunas. Setter number 3, Joshua Retamar. Middle blocker number 6, Kim Malabunga. Opposite hitter, their team captain number 10, John Vic de Guzman. Middle blocker number 12, Francis Saura. Outside hitter number 15, Mark Espejo. And their libero number 16, Ricky Marcos. Head coach for the Philippines is Dante Alitsunurin.
There you have it, the starting lineups of our 2 squads. For Indonesia, they're using their usual 6. I got covered their Vietnam match. But the difference is, starting is the very young Tony Haryono in replacement for Randy Tamamilang. On the other side of the court, the Philippines starting with their usual suspects in Bagunas, Retamar, Malabunga, John Vic de Guzman, Francis Saurad, and Mark Espejo. So it's going to be very interesting as to how this match would fold out. But I just realized, Doc, on the side of the Philippines, that's several generations of setters for the national team. Right in there, you have Coach Doc de la Cruz, who passed the baton to Coach Jesse Lopez. And then you see at the last minute, may last minute coaching si Coach Jesse dito kay Ave Josh Retamar, who just served. They go to an open hit on the side of Indonesia, and Indonesia draws first blood.
Yes, strong power hit from number 3, Sigit Ardian, to start off Indonesia's run. Well, they know that Philippines has a home court advantage. It's a full packed stadium and the crowd is surely against them, but Indonesia, knowing that they're a perennial title contender in the SEA Games, they were gonna give Philippines a good show.
Definitely being both undefeated in their bracket still, it's going to be interesting as Philippines gets their first point in that last play. Doc, you mentioned to me right before we went on cam, but we just saw those signs from our fans na you joined, or you were also part of the 2015 Southeast Asian Games, but unfortunately, hindi nyo nakaharap itong Indonesia. This was because you were in different groups.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of serving as the captain in the 2015 SEA Games. Some people who are still there from that squad, of course, Mark Espejo and John Vic de Guzman, Rexental, and Ish Polvorosa. And we were up against a strong bracket. We had Thailand in our bracket. We were able to beat Malaysia. We put up a close fight against Myanmar. But it's, if you compare that 2015 from this time, all of the opponents we had in our bracket are not in the bracket of Philippines right now. So everyone is a new face, or at least a new opponent for Team Philippines, Indonesia, Cambodia, and Vietnam.
So we could say that this bracket is quite advantageous for us at this early stage. But right now, Philippines and Indonesia both at 2 points each as Sigit Ardian serves, going for that jump serve straight to the net. Free point for the Philippines.
Ardian going for a jump serve to zone 5, but unsuccessful, as Francis Saura now up to serve for Team Philippines.
Saura, of course, an NU Bulldog standout, serving. Picked up there. Nizar goes back row to Ardian.
Just admirable power being shown by Ardian early on. If I'm not mistaken, 2 attack points by Indonesia, care of Ardian alone.
Now we see Randu serving for Indonesia. Now, an interesting note as well, one member of Team Indonesia is actually celebrating their birthday today, as we saw that hit coming from Kim Malabunga with that running attack. But one member of Team Indonesia is actually celebrating his birthday today. He's turning 20 years old. That is none other than Faeza Rakha Abhinaya, their second libero. So it's going to be interesting if that will be the lucky charm for Indonesia. But so far, Philippines looking forward to a hot start here as they have 2 points ahead of Indonesia.
Great point by Team Philippines. Care of that outside attack by Rivan. Good block shown by Bagunas and Malabunga. It's gonna be hard to break that kind of height.
Ricky Marcos in full extension in that last shot as Rivan goes cross court and finds the corner there.
Gotta admire the speed of the set given to Rivan.
And credit that, of course, to their team captain, Nizar. Serving now is the opposite hitter, Rivan Nurmulki for Indonesia. Jump serve straight to Espejo. They go up to Bagunas with a swipe off the block.
Intelligent play by Brian Bagunas.
You know, that's what we've noticed with Brian after the Japan stint, or it's still ongoing, but with the short break that he had and now that he's with us here wearing the country's colors, parang lumakas, mas kondisyon.
Yeah, it's very noticeable, the improvement in Brian Bagunas, because here in the Philippines, he was up against players na he can go above in terms of his reach, in terms of his attack, but definitely not the same case when during his stint in Japan, where he will be up against a lot of tall players, especially in the opposite position where most teams field their tallest and strongest players.
And if we're talking about his contemporary, Mark Jesus Espejo, who just scored his first point here in this match. But Bagunas gives a freebie to Indonesia. Philippines still up by 2 points.
A good target in the part of Brian Bagunas to go for a strong serve to zone 1.
A bit overcooked there, fortunately, as Donny Haryono, one of the youngest in the squad, who's also 20 years old, serves. They go up to Mark. On the other side, Nizar choosing Ardian. Ardian under that ball, overcooking it. Freebie for the Philippines, and we are ushering in to our first technical timeout. Philippines up by 3. More action when we return here on the 30th Southeast Asian Games.
Congratulations, Gilas.
Back here in our coverage of the 30th Southeast Asian Games, we're seeing some familiar faces: Alfred Balbuena, Isay Marasigan, Timmy San Tomas, fans from Team Indonesia. On the other side, always so playful. I saw this very nice video on social media in beach volleyball. Indonesia and the Philippines doing a dance-off with each other. So there's a lot of camaraderie also in the SEA Games, as Rivan shows no mercy on a down-the-line kill.
Rivan going for a clean attack in the down the line, catching Malabunga off guard. And Yuda, one of the youngest players for Team Indonesia, is now serving.
Now Yuda, who's their middle blocker, quite silent in their match against Vietnam, their first game, but right now starting to make his presence felt. On the other side, great point there for the Philippines, back to a 3-point advantage for the Filipinos.
John Vic de Guzman with that split-second shift in mid-air in terms of his attack, going for a convincing approach, but going for a drop shot last second.
One of our youngest, or if not the youngest player on court, served. Ardian going cross-court, overcooked, too wide, back to a 4-point advantage for Pilipinas.
Indonesia.
Indonesia now calls timeout as we see the fans of Team Philippines just raving inside the Phil Sports Arena. This game is live from the Phil Sports Arena. If you're not familiar, bagong renovated po ang Phil Sports, so dating tinatawag nating Ultra. And this newly renovated world-class facility is the home of our volleyball action here at the 30th Southeast Asian Games. Doc, looks like Indonesia is having some trouble converting their attacks.
Yes, definitely. Philippines have been loading up their serves, causing Indonesia to play out of system.
Oh.
And
Coach Ramil de Jesus in the venue.
And if you play out of system against Team Philippines, who has proven to be a good blocking team in their first 2 games, it's going to be hard for Indonesia to convert.
And speaking of blocking, it's this young lad who also contributed a lot of block points there in their previous matches as Marcos sets up Espejo. And Espejo converts that.
Mark Espejo unfazed by 2 tall blockers by Indonesia, but it all started with a good serve coming from Retamar, again catching Indonesia off system, giving away a free ball, and Philippines with an easy conversion.
Brian Bagunas on your screens. The 1-2 punch of Team Pilipinas. Bagunas and Espejo. Back row hit for Rivan works.
Rivan too high with his attack. Fortunate enough to go through the block of Saura.
So far, Team Philippines still in control of this match. 4 points ahead as Indonesia tries to catch up. Their captain serving. Picked up there. Quick coming from Saura in the middle. On the other side, Ardian going down the line.
What a remarkable set by Nizar. Fast play coming from zone 1.
Let's look at that again.
And Ardian just choosing the space between Espejo and the antenna.
Slicing through it. Serve again from Nizar. Sharp straight to Kalingking. They go up. Back set to Espejo. That's a point for Team Philippines.
Actually, that's one of the more annoying shots of Mark Espejo, which wasn't my problem because he's my teammate in the club league. But whenever I see him do that, I know it's very much frustrating for the blockers of the other team.
There's just a lot of a very high volleyball IQ when you say the name Mark Espejo. As Retamar sets up Bagunas, it's that combination from the UAAP. Bagunas again, but Bagunas denied there on that last play. Indonesia trailing behind by 3 points. See that again. Tamar sets up Bagunas going for the cross court, denied by Randu of Indonesia.
Yeah. Retamar set a little too short on the net, so leaving not much space for Bagunas to go for an angle shot, and the blockers of Indonesia all over that ball.
Sharp serve there coming from Ardian. They go to Bagunas. Cross court finding the line for Brian Bagunas.
And that NU connection between Retamar and Bagunas. Bagunas just going for a sharp angle towards zone 5 to avoid the blockers who are guarding him in the down the line attack.
Francis Saura now serving. Picked up there by Indonesia. Nizar goes back, sets. And Rivan gets it through the block.
So what a matchup. Rivan versus Bagunas. This is shaping up.
Well, Rivan has been the name of the household for Indonesia in their first match against Vietnam. As Indonesia continues to serve with Randu. Retamar goes back row to Espejo off the block.
And that signature back row pipe coming from Mark Espejo.
You know, that's a sentence that I only dream to say, Retamar to Espejo. Diba?
Well, now you can say it a lot.
Even yung kanina, yung Marcos to Espejo. Never would you imagine, but it's only the Philippines that can bring these gallant nights of volleyball together as Indonesia tries to catch up here. They're behind by 3 points after that hit from Donny Haryono. Let's look at that again.
What a set by Nizar. Getting Malabunga convinced that he will go for a drop, leaving Nizar just with, or rather Donny with just 1 block.
Rivan's serve goes straight to the net. That's a freebie again for the Philippines, who's up by 4 points. So 5-4 has been the comfortable lead for Team Pilipinas here, Doc.
Well, it all started with an aggressive serving in the first part of this set. And now Philippines just maintaining their lead in the transition.
However, a freebie is given back to Indonesia. Exchange gifts for two squads. It's back to a 3-point gap between the Philippines and Indonesia.
Another service error for Brian Bagunas, trying to go for zone 1. He was successful in going for zone 5 with his power serves.
Arjona now on the serve. Off the hands of Kalingking.
That's a good target, actually, going for the seam between Kalingking and John Vic.
Very sharp angles here coming from Team Indonesia. Arjona continues to serve for Indonesia. Picked up by Kalingking. Retamar goes up to a quick. Malabunga a bit too wide on that angle.
Malabunga seeing two blockers right in front of him. Well, for us middles, one of our tendencies is actually to go for a sharp cross-court quick attack.
Those angled hits.
Yeah, but Malabunga overcooks that one.
Picked up there by Kalingking. They go up. What a hit there coming from Brian Bagunas from the back row. And that gives the Philippines a 2-point advantage. 16 to 14. We'll be back after this short break. Games, and the Philippines still ahead by 2 points here at set number 1.
End of the second
As
technical
Indonesia
timeout.
tried to catch up, but the Philippines remaining ahead by 2 points. And so far, Doc, anong napapansin mo mga tendencies ng dalawa nating koponan?
Well, for Indonesia, they're relying heavily on their pins. Haven't heard much from their middles right now. As we can see, a check ball with the attempt of Artian. While in the Philippines, it's pretty much well distributed. Coming from Retamar, we've seen a couple of hits from the middle, and of course, the 1-2 punch of Espejo and Bagunas.
So far, even though the Wings are carrying their load, Indonesia is just behind by 1. Serve coming from Indonesia, picked up by Espejo. They go up to Brian Bagunas' back row, picked up there by Indonesia. Back row, Rivan. Hahabulin, habol. Free ball, great efforts from the Philippines. Back row mula kay Rivan, off the hands. Marlibero. Tied at 16. Dumidikit na ang Indonesia.
Just too much power in the part of Rivan and speed in his attack. Kalingking unable to handle that.
Rivan is Indonesia's prolific scorer. It's no surprise. Tied at 16. Serve now coming from Yuda. That is out.
Good judgment in the part of the receivers for Team Philippines.
Philippines now back to a 1-point advantage.
After leading by as much as 5 or 4 points, Philippines need to load up on their services again. Get Indonesia out of system.
Amar is now on the service line, which was the moment when they were able to do that, but Indonesia just prevents that as Randu scores cross court. Tied at 17, another deadlock here at set number 1.
First strong hit from the middle for Team Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken.
Zar now serving for Indonesia. Picked up there by Espejo. Kalingking trying to help with that, but on the other side, Guzman denied by the block.
Good target in the part of Indonesia, going for the seam between Kalingking and Espejo to put them out of the equation in the attack, leaving the blockers having an easier time to scout who would be the one set by Retamar, and it was John Vic at that time.
Now it's a change of favors for Indonesia and the Philippines. Indonesia now ahead by 2 points. First time that Indonesia starts to take control of this game. We see
Timeout, Philippines.
our friends from Indonesia there as the Philippines calls their timeout. Doc, ano yung masasabi mong problema in the past few sequences for Filipinas?
Well, it's a good time for Coach Dante to call time because Indonesia has their strongest lineup, if I'm not mistaken, out in the front row are Dian, Rivan, and Randu. So just some polishing in terms of the passing of Philippines at this point to be able to convert. And again, what they did in the earlier part of this set is load up on their service. They have to get Indonesia out of system so that at least it's easier for the blockers of Philippines to set up the wall.
And so far, yun yung napansin ko din, ginagawa naman ng Indonesia in out of system, naghahanap ng maninipis na eskinita as Indonesia serves. Out of system play there. Freebie. Nizar goes back set to Rivan on the other side. Tamar chooses the Guzman under that ball. Indonesia up by 3. Let's look at that again.
There is a challenge on the call by the Philippines. Block touch.
Challenge call here coming from the Philippines. To check if there's a block touch from Indonesia. Coach Dante Litsunuri just steady at the helm of this Filipino squad. Let's see the video challenge. The Guzman there on the replay. No touch there based on our challenge.
The challenge was unsuccessful.
No touch there in the part of Rivan. Well, what happened with the spike actually is that the ball was set towards the antenna and Janvik wasn't able to hit it before it crossed his right shoulder.
Not in the optimal angle to hit that.
That's why it sailed wide.
As Espejo gets a point off the block. Philippines trailing behind by 2.
And it's that volleyball IQ by Espejo. Even mid-air, he can determine where he wants to put the ball.
Oh, I noticed Mark has gained some muscle here, trying to add more power to his hits, but too strong on that last serve. Back to 3-point lead for Indonesia.
Well, now that you mention it, that he really needed to pack on some muscle because during the earlier part of this year and actually in the middle part during the professional league, he was nursing a shoulder injury, and he was really advised to build up some muscle, especially in his shoulders, to be able to alleviate that pain.
Trying to load up, of course, trying to prepare for the SEA Games. And we know that this Philippine squad came in here really prepared. They have training, rigorous training. I see the post from the coaches, how many days they've been preparing. As they serve, Nizar goes to the open side. Habulen inangat. They go to Bagunas. Cross court picked up there by Bastien. On the other side, Haryono. Cross court. But answering back is the Philippines to the celebration of the bench.
Mark Espejo showing why he's the phenom, going for a 1-2 play off that dig by Retamar.
Never doubt the phenom.
Usually what would happen if the setter gets it is that the middle or the libero would go for that second ball, but since Sauro didn't position, Mark was an optimal position to go for a pipe.
And that's the volleyball IQ of Mark Espejo for you, but Indonesia answers back with that last play. Back to a 2-point advantage for Indonesia. As Randu, your middle blocker, serves.
At this point, Coach Dante should be considering fortifying the defense in the pins.
But so far, Brian Baguna says there's no problem yet, as Philippines is just down by 1.
Number 10 out, number 17, Jesse Lopez in.
The veteran, Jesse
Number 3 out,
Lopez
number 11,
comes in.
Ranran Abdilia in.
And Ranran Abdilia. These are the tandem that we usually see in beach volleyball. They have that connection from the Philippine Air Force. They're bringing their experience here, being one of the more veteran players.
Yeah, we have to credit the skills of Retamar to Coach Jesse Lopez here, who's been handling the kid.
He's been the mentor of Joshua Retamar in NU. Hit there, coming from Rivan, hindi na nahabol ng Pilipinas. Back to a 2-point lead for Indonesia.
Rivan packing too much power for Jesse Lopez to handle. But over on the other side of that substitution, Ranran Abdila, best scorer in the club league recently. So first time in action in this set.
And parang medyo tinago itong si Anen, no, in the past 2 games. As Jesse Lopez goes up to Ranran and point converts for the Philippines. As we see some local celebrities and our fans just getting into the action, supporting the Filipinos.
So full front line for Team Philippines in Espejo, Abdilla, and Malabunga.
Great block there from Espejo. Nizar goes back row to Rivan. Nizar goes up to Haryono, and Haryono finds the spot.
Just too fast in the distribution of Nizar. Well, at that sequence, there's no way he's going to be able to set up the quick.
It's set point moments for Indonesia after Philippines being as much as 4 in leading in this first set. The young Donny Haryono serves now for Indonesia. Picked up there. Jesse Lopez. Up back row. What a hit from Brian Magunas. Just 1 point away from tying this match and extending the first set.
There is a challenge on the call by Indonesia. Foot fault.
Indonesia will contest the back row attack of Magunas.
And it seems like head coach Lee Teo Tiang is quite confident with the challenges he's calling. Let's see.
It's too far. Too far from the line.
Too far. Is this a delaying tactic for Team Indonesia, Doc?
I cannot answer for the coaching staff.
Yeah.
But if they won the challenge, they would have won the set effortlessly.
Serve now coming from Malabunga. They go up to the opposite side. Rivan off the block and unstoppable, finishing set number 1 for Team Indonesia. And it seems like, Doc, we're up for a really heated match between the Philippines and Indonesia.
Rivan, 24 years old, proving to be the headache right now for Team Philippines. But let's see how Team Philippines will be able to adjust. So far, this is the toughest match they've had